On October 16, 1991, 35-year-old George Hennard drove a truck through the front window of a Luby's cafeteria in Killeen, Texas. He shot and killed 23 people and wounded 27 others. When police arrived at the scene, Hennard refused to surrender. After a brief shootout with the officers, he brought one of his guns to his head and took his own life. At the time, the shooting was the deadliest in the United States by a lone gunman, and to this day, Hennard's motives for his crime remain deeply perplexing. The Luby's cafeteria that met Hennard's deadly assault was filled with 150 people on that fateful October day. At 12:39 p.m., the gunman crashed into the restaurant's front window with his blue Ford Ranger pickup truck. He then began firing from within the truck with a pistol in each hand. He first hit 48-year-old Michael Griffith, a veterinarian. Hennard then stepped out of the truck brandishing his guns. He screamed, "All women of Killeen and Belton are vipers. This is what you've done to me and my family. This is what Bell County did to me. This is payback day." He prowled around the restaurant like a hungry lion, selectively choosing his victims, often passing over men to shoot women. He fatally shot 2 women, including one hiding under a bench, calling them both bitches. He shot a man hiding under a table named Steve Ernst, who survived. Hennard next approached a woman with a baby, but didn't shoot, warning her to flee before he, quote, changed his mind. Hennard then shot Steve Ernst's wife in the arm. The bullet went out the other side and killed 70-year-old Ellen Hennahan, Ernst's mother-in-law. Helpless and terrified, the people inside the Luby's could do nothing but await their demise at the hands of the deranged gunman. Then an escape route opened. Hennard approached the table of 28-year-old Tommy Vaughn in the back of the cafeteria. Vaughn jumped through a back window, breaking it, and dozens of people fled out of it, shoving each other and knocking each other over as they did so. By the time the police arrived minutes later, about a third of the people in the Luby's had managed to escape. Hennard began reloading his guns to square off with the police, but he retreated after being shot, ducking for cover in an area between the restaurant's bathrooms. Unfortunately for Hennard, he couldn't take shelter in the bathrooms as they were filled with people hiding who'd blocked the doors. Police ordered Hennard to surrender, but he refused. The police shot Hennard twice more, hitting him in the abdomen, but Hennard did not shoot back as he was nearly out of ammunition. Realizing this, and that he'd likely die of his injuries, Hennard shot himself in the head with his final bullet. He was the last of the 24 people who died in the shooting. The exact reason for why Hennard committed this massacre is hard to say, apart from his general misogyny. His parents divorced when he was 27, and his mother went to live in Henderson, Nevada, where Hennard had bought the weapons he'd use in the attack. He split his time between staying with his mother in Nevada and occupying a huge red brick colonial family home in Belton, Texas. He came from a rich family. Hennard didn't get along with his mother and held prejudicial views, getting kicked out of the U.S. Merchant Marine for both drug use and racial incidents in 1989. According to his ex-roommate, he hated blacks, Hispanics, and gays. He said women were snakes and always had derogatory remarks about them, especially after fights with his mother. Prior to the massacre, Hennard also stalked 2 sisters who lived a couple of blocks away from him in Belton, 23-year-old Jill Fritz and 19-year-old Jana Jimigan. The 2 young women rejected advances he made towards them in a 5-page letter he sent in the summer of 1991. There were several signs that Hennard had planned to commit a violent attack in the months and days leading up to the shooting. In his letter to Fritz and Jimigan, he said, "Please give me the satisfaction of someday laughing in the face of all those mostly white, treacherous female vipers from those 2 towns, Killeen and Belton, who tried to destroy me and my family." Around 2 months before the shooting, Hennard entered a convenience store in Belton to buy breakfast. The store clerk claimed that Hennard had leaned over the counter and said, I want you to tell everybody. If they don't quit messing around my house, something awful is going to happen. A week and a half before the shooting, Hennard collected his paycheck at a cement company in Copper's Cove, where he'd been working, and announced he was quitting. Bubba Hawkins, a co-worker, claimed he got to talking about some of the people in Belton and certain women that had given him problems, and he kept saying, "Watch and see, watch and see." The day before the shooting happened to be Hennard's 35th birthday. On this day, he spoke with his mother on the phone. Later that evening, while eating a cheeseburger and fries in a restaurant outside of Belton, Hennard exploded with rage as he watched the television coverage of Clarence Thomas's confirmation hearings. When an interview with Anita Hill came on, he just went off, Bill Stringer, a manager at the restaurant, said. He started screaming, "You dumb bitch! You bastards opened the door for all the women." The Luby shooting in Killeen, Texas was truly a horrific event, and my heart goes out to the 23 victims of Hennard's senseless rage that lost their lives on that sunny October day over 30 years ago. A case like this just goes to show that dangerous people are lurking everywhere, and may appear in even the seemingly safest and most mundane of places. A peaked granite memorial stands behind the Killeen Community Center with the date of the massacre and the names of those killed, if you'd ever like to visit it to pay your respects. The Luby's itself no longer stands, however, and as of 2022 a Chinese buffet stands in its place. Perhaps this is for the best, so that the terrible massacre may be left in the past. Thank you guys, stay safe out there, and remember, don't get scared out of swords.